Hello and welcome to VITA. I am your host, Navita. I would like to introduce my guest for the day, starting on my right, Miss Sheila Holt Olmsted. So glad to have you here, Sheila.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And over here by Sheila is Dr. Robert C. Winfield. Glad to see you, Doctor, and we're going to get back with you. Okay. And over here to my left at his little lonesome is Jimmie Garland. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing great.
Well, this is going to be a show that I think everybody needs to tune into because it has happened to be addressing a little-known problem that seems to be escalating in our society. A problem called environmental racism. And Sheila, I would like you to kind of expound on what I just said.
Environmental racism is when undesirables are put into minority communities, whether it be a landfill or a factory that may be putting pollution into the air or the water. Minorities seem to bear the burden of pollution more than their white counterparts in this country. And it has been termed by Dr. Robert Bullard as environmental racism.
So you have something to back up what you have? I've never heard of that before.
Dr. Winfield, who's supposed to have been a guest here today, he's done the research and he's done the statistics.
Dr. Bullard.
Dr. Bullard has done the research, and he has statistics that back everything that.
So you said something about certain cultures may be put in certain zones or areas that perhaps other cultures would not be put in. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, minorities, and he's also determined that it's not by an economic standard. It's minority communities, the poor and the minorities, but mostly minorities. When he did poor and minorities, and it's minorities that bear the burden.
So, what happened in those communities? Because you mentioned, we said environmental racism. That, to me, has something to do with our environment. You're saying something is kind of awry in that environment where these communities are placed?
Sometimes it's pollution in the air. Sometimes it's groundwater. That's what my story is. Our groundwater was contaminated, but it could be the water, the air, just the.
Well, no, okay, your story. Let's hear your story then. Maybe we can get a better clarification on what we're trying to bring out today.
Okay, I came home 2002. I found that my father had cancer. My aunt, who lives next door, and she's not my dad's sister, but my dad's brother's wife, so they're not blood related. And then several other people in the community, like a fourth of a mile, because out in the country, we have 150 acres. So the next property over may also have, maybe 100 acres. So it's a fourth of a mile. It's a lot of. It added up to a lot of people, and I became concerned first because my dad appeared to be a fairly healthy person. Didn't smoke, didn't drink. He worked hard, wasn't overweight, just appeared to be. And I know that doesn't really, anybody can get cancer, but then my aunt also, the same thing, just appeared to be a healthy person. And so I said there was a lot of people here, and I was living in Dale City, Virginia at that time, and I said there's a lot of people here who have cancer. Even though I'm teaching 5 aerobic classes, and 2 of them were to Army personnel. I mean, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing, working them out. Yeah, I'm working them out. And I'm thinking I'm a picture of health also. But I said, there's a lot of people sick there. And so I'm going to go home and get me a physical. And the results were stage 2 breast cancer.
What?
And
With all of that, GI.
I'm doing the aerobics. I'm doing personal training, and I was playing in two old lady basketball leagues. So, and one of them was for the Army. So I, thought I was a picture of health, and I had to look behind me when the doctor said, stage 2 breast cancer, because I never saw it coming, and I wasn't sick. I never felt bad.
And it wasn't in your family background?
No, I never knew anybody. I didn't even know anybody with breast cancer, let alone somebody in my family.
Wow.
So I never saw that, but it led me to the state records, which everybody in that area had groundwater. And I went to the state records and found that there was a chemical, trichloroethylene, and TCE was a cancer-causing chemical. And when I kept doing the research, I found that the state, EPA, and the county all knew that the contamination was there for almost 40 years. And they lied to my family. They wrote my dad's letters saying that at 26 times more than what humans are supposed to drink, it's okay for you to drink. But, he didn't know what the numbers meant. All he saw was that there's something there, but it won't hurt you. Nothing that will cause any adverse health effects.
They told him?
Yes.
Your father did?
Yes.
The county?
The state and EPA and this county, but they wrote him letters. EPA's letterhead was on the letter, the first letter, and it said, we've got this chemical here, but it won't hurt you. Then the state backed it up. They sent him a letter also saying, there's 2 cancer causes. We know now. We didn't know then there were cancer causes. They just said there's 2 chemicals, and they named them, but they won't cause any adverse health effects. And again, it was 26 times more than what humans were supposed to be